Hello everybody, Mr. Meatshield here with a review for Doctor Strange, a movie directed by Scott Derrickson and starring Benedict Cumberbatch as the titular character Dr. Stephen Strange, as well as Chiwetel Ejiofor as Mordo, Mads Mikkelsen as Caecilius, Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One, Rachel McAdams as Christine Palmer, and Benedict Wong as Wong. Now, as a director, Scott Derrickson has usually worked on horror movies before, such as Hellraiser Inferno, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and both Sinister movies. He does seem like a good fit for the Doctor Strange film, however, because it does revolve around the supernatural and magic and all of that. For the plot, stop me if you heard this before. Incredibly arrogant character experiences a life changing event and has to go through a humbling experience to become and becomes more selfless because of it. That's basically Doctor Strange. And if that sounds very familiar, that's because that's also how the first Iron Man and the first Thor movies were. The arrogant character, of course, is Stephen Strange, a brilliant neurosurgeon, and because of his skill in his profession, is incredibly arrogant uh, and egotistical. So much so that he is incredibly proud of his 100% or perfect track record in treating patients and will not even try to treat anyone who he thinks or he knows is incurable, or and will only choose those who he thinks will give him prestige in his career. He's also somewhat of a dick to his colleagues, and the life-changing event is the car accident that takes away the use of his hands. Of course, the this happening to him makes it so that he can no longer be a surgeon, as one slip and he could paralyze the patients, or even worse, kill them. The humbling experience is going through and finding out that life is, or the world is much more than he thought, by going to Nepal and trying to in order to find a way to fix his hands, and in doing so he finds so much more in the Ancient One teaching him the mystic arts as well as the multiverse, basically. Just to compare, in Iron Man, of course, Tony Stark is the arrogant character. The life-changing event is the bomb blowing is the Stark Tech bomb or a missile blowing up pretty near him and causing a piece of shrapnel to inch further into his heart before uh, uh, he made some sort of electromagnet to stop it. And the life-changing or humbling event is being a captive of terrorists, where he had to make a the Iron Man armor basically, and go get to escape from his captors. And Thor, of course, Thor Odin's son, is the arrogant character. The the life changing event is being stripped away of his godly powers and being unworthy to wield Mjolnir. The humbling experience is pretty much living with the humans and experiencing life as a human and becoming more selfless because of it. So yeah, pretty much somewhat cookie cutter, I guess, for an MCU film. Now, it wouldn't be a superhero film without a villain. and that would come in the form of Caecilius rather. That's the how the movie pronounces that name. And Caecilius is after pretty much immortal life or immortality, but in order to do so, a he has to make a deal with someone, and that's as much as I can say without spoiling anything. As far as the casting goes, Benedict Cumberbatch makes sense as Dr. Stephen Strange because he already plays an arrogant asshole on TV in Sherlock. um, his transformation from that to a selfless sorcerer is very believable, and his journey throughout, uh, he gives a very strong performance. Uh, Chiwetel Ejiofor as Mordo, also a very good performance. The character, however, is very different from the comics. In the comics, where Baron Mordo is very envious and angry at Stephen Strange for being the favorite of the Ancient One. In this, he is more supporting of Stephen Strange, and in fact is the one who convinces the Ancient One to let him into Kamar Taj. As for his performance as the character, also very good. Um, Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One, the difference from the comics, of course, being a gender swap. There was some outrage in this a few months back, and it doesn't really matter. The main point of the character anyway is that she's the one who teaches Stephen Strange about the mystic arts and everything else, and that's what Tilda Swinton does in this movie. And the use of this character in this movie was very appropriate. Tilda Swinton, of course, not being, or rather, usually being in the asexual character roles, works pretty well with this character. Now, Mads Mikkelsen as Caecilius. I didn't watch Hannibal. I don't really know much about his work, but as far as the character of Caecilius goes, I'd say this is another somewhat underdeveloped villain for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Uh, Somewhat on par with Ronan the Accuser and that villain from Thor 2. Mads Mikkelsen does deliver a good enough performance, however, for the scenes that he's in. Rachel McAdams as Christine Palmer. Again, character isn't really on screen that much. She's usually in the hospital, apart from that one scene where she's at Stephen Strange's apartment. And most of the movie is not in those locations anyway. However, in the scenes that she is on screen, again, very good performance as well. Now, Benedict Wong as Wong, uh, there's also a change in the a difference rather in the from the comic version, where in the comics Wong is Doctor Strange's manservant. Here he is a fellow master of the mystic arts, and most of the comedic scenes or most of the jokes also involve his character. Um, Again, he doesn't really do that much in this movie, but also just like Rachel McAdams and Mads Mikkelsen, whatever scenes he's in, he does all right. The special effects in this movie is what makes it something that has to be seen on a big screen. The trailer has already shown the buildings folding into each other, and that's just a small taste of what this movie has. The trailer also shows some of the astral projection as well as the multiverse being shown to Doctor Strange, and those are just small clips of those scenes as well, especially the multiverse scene. The movie also deals with time manipulation, and that really helps in the final confrontation with between Doctor Strange, Mordo, and Caecilius and his goons. It just that again, just like with the Magnificent Seven, the final battle scene just has to be seen to be believed. I've never seen anything like it in film before. It's just incredible what these filmmakers can do these days in these movies. If anybody thought that the what's it called, the visuals in Ant-Man where he removes the limiter from his belt to shrink to microscopic and even smaller sizes was incredible, your mind is gonna be blown away with the visuals in Doctor Strange. It is just incredible, the special effects they use in this, and it is because of that I am just gonna recommend this movie to be seen in theaters, uh, or if you don't want to see this in theaters and have a 4K TV or and 4K Blu-ray player, wait for that 4K Blu-ray. It's just gonna be incredible, and a small screen is just not gonna do it justice. If there's anything weak about the movie, it's that I wish the Caecilius character were more developed. They do mention his background being a former student of the Ancient One, but his motivation for his actions and why he became a villain does not really is not really conveyed in the movie. I know, however, that there is a prequel comic for the film, but I didn't read that, so maybe they explain something there. Um, as far as the plot, I already mentioned that it's practically the same as the first Iron Man and Thor movies, so it's somewhat cookie cutter as far as Marvel MCU goes in the basic sense, but there's enough difference between the movies to say that this is a completely different film. Overall, people are gonna enjoy this movie unless you're one of those people who were outraged with the changes they did with the characters, or basically if you're a purist. People who are new to who are unfamiliar with the character will appreciate this origin story. Um, they do, however, not explain much of what's going on, and some of the action scenes might be a bit confusing to people. Um, I guess there's also the problem with the some of the inter-universe uh, visuals being too fast or too crazy uh, for some people. But besides that, it's just an incredible movie that just needs to be seen in theaters. If you can go to an IMAX theater that has it, go for it. Hello, Mr. Meatshield here, and I'd like to thank you for watching the video. Click that thumbs up if you liked it. Click that subscribe button if you want to keep updated with the content. Also on screen right now is my Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook information. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.